Hello, welcome back to episode 6 of Interstellar Voyage. Since last episode, I completely forgot to get any of the science from my Duna mission other than that a few crew reports. I am here just launching one real quick Minmus mission just to get the science to go to the threshold that I really want. Which is the main focus of this video, building rocket shipyards on other celestial bodies. So, here we are recovering first stage, yada yada yada. The really cool thing about extraplanetary launchpads, I don't know if I've talked about this before. Maybe I said this last episode. Apologies if I repeat stuff, but the real fun thing about extraplanetary launchpads is you can build stuff on other celestial bodies, and you don't have to build a giant launch vehicle, which is very expensive in career mode, and also just my computer hates it. It's just one more way to reduce lag, which I guess it isn't really, because the bases end up being like 100, 200 parts, so it's really not fixing a ton, but I mean, I don't have to deal with the aerodynamic forces, so I guess it's a little more lag efficient. I don't really know, but that's the great thing about extraplanetary launch pads. The not so great thing is the part models look so bad. They're like actual garbage. They do not mesh with the Kerbal. They're just like, they're weird shapes and they're weird like textures that aren't like, they just don't work in the game, and it's really ugly. So I modded my version of a mod. Yeah. I basically just went in the config files with Notepad and tweaked some stuff for some configs for the vanilla parts. So the ISRU unit now has the capability to smelt things. Like it can take ore, which is another thing. Instead of using the augers to get the metal ore, because the augers are like yellow and they aren't deployable, so you just got like these like yellow cylinders with gray spirals coming out of them at all times, and they're just ugly. They just don't, like, look at those, like they're like a muted like orange yellow. You can deploy them. They fit well within the aesthetic of Kerbal Space Program, which is like slightly cartoony space stuff, and like it works. It looks good, but the fucking auger looks like garbage. Okay, so maybe I'm flashing pictures up on the screen. Hopefully I am. That makes this video me rambling about things that most people probably don't even know what they look like, but yeah, so it looks bad. So I switched it from being metal ore to just normal ore. You can turn it into fuel, or you can turn it into metal, which I feel like that makes a little more sense. Like in real life, if you think about regolith, like a lot of that is metals and stuff in there, as well as all the parts that would go into being fuel, like hydrogen and oxygen and all the stuff. So I thought it made a little more sense to me than having a separate metal ore auger thing. And it just means like I have less ugly tanks, because the tanks also look abhorrent. I have a mod. I don't know exactly what it is. I think it's the space stations, the near future space stations. At least I think it's Nertia. But so I have that. Oh, a load screen. I should have cut that out. Whatever. Yeah, so I have those. They look a lot nicer, and they can hold like a shit ton, which is awesome. You'll see those later. I use those in the final base. So what I do basically is here's my like scout that I'm sending up. This has the ore surveyor thing on it. So I put this into a polar orbit of the Mun. Oh well, yeah. So basically, I sent up one like quick and dirty, and most importantly cheap, and easy to launch, like rocket platform build thing. Yeah, there I am dropping the lower stage into the Mun because can't leave debris in space. Gotta live like Matt Lown. Yep. Jesus. Yeah. So I sent a cheap one up. This is me launching it here. And then eventually I use that to basically build a larger, nicer station. This one's called Termite. I end up calling the bigger one Queen. I just thought it was a nice name. So yeah, I build that, and then I build the bigger one, which was a massive pain because I did not engineer it quite correctly. Oh well. I mean, it worked out. I got there in the end. I had some weird bugs with crew moving between things. Yeah, so this was not a cheap launch. I was hoping to recoup some of the costs on the recovering the stages, but as you will see, none of them survived re-entry. I think one of them, the parachutes just wouldn't deploy, and that bugs me so much because it's like, I don't care if it's unsafe for them to deploy. Maybe like one or two, and then I can slow it down enough for the rest of them to be safe to deploy. But I guess I don't know. I'm not an actual rocket scientist. I just play this game and watch Scott Manley. I'm really fucking sore right now. Because I spent like an hour yesterday. Yep, there it goes. I spent an hour yesterday carrying a microwave, and not just a microwave, a microwave and a bag of groceries, complete with a sack of flour and sugar, because I hate my muscles, my admittedly very lacking muscles. So I carried a microwave for like a mile, and I'm not in shape. I'm really not in shape. So it fucked me up real good. I woke up this morning feeling like I got hit by a truck. Is how I described it to my friends. But I think it was worth it because I got one of the most dangerous things you can. One of the most dangerous electronic components that you can have, which is I think like 2,000 volt transformer. The thing is huge. My friend was like, that's the number one cause of deaths for hobbyist electronics, electrical engineer, hobbyist electrical engineers, I guess. I was like, yeah, I bet it's the number one for breaking your fucking toe too, because the thing is massive. It's like the size. It's hard to describe, I guess. It's like the size of a small to medium sized Lego set is, I guess, the best way I can describe it. Or like, imagine. I kept thinking it was like the heart of the microwave, right? Because it's about that size, I guess. It's got like wires and shit coming out of it. But anyways, the thing is fucking massive and just like straight steel and copper, so it's so fucking heavy. When I was carrying the microwave, it was noticeably like only half the microwave. How do I English? Fuck. It was like so much heavier on one side. It was like carrying a ton of rocks in one arm, and like, God, I'm so shit. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry to the one person that's watching this. It's just, you probably don't even exist. You probably just accidentally clicked on this video and didn't even get this far. But here we are, yeah. I got the magnetron out too, which was pretty fucking sick. That thing, it looks so cool, and I realized I like looked at some videos because I was curious how it worked because I haven't like been into any sort of electronic stuff in a long time. So I was like perusing YouTube looking for informational videos on the functionality of a magnetron, which is one of the coolest names for a component ever. Like the magnetron. It sounds like a transformer, which, you know, the transformer also sounds like a transformer. That's fucking stupid. But yeah, no, so it's like got these weird wiggle things, and I thought that was like for the resonant electrons, but no, it turns out that's just a radiator. And AC motors look kind of weird, huh? It's just like a copper coil next to a magnet, and somehow something goes spinny. I don't understand. I don't pretend to know half of how anything works. So that's the thing. Yeah, here we are landing our very gracefully landing our termite base, which, yeah. Yeah, fuck. The construction pad at the top there is one of the only things I couldn't actually figure out how to be another part, and I couldn't figure out a part that it would be anyways. So I've just been like clipping it down into service bays, which some people might get mad at, but there's nothing in the service bays. It doesn't matter. Actually, I think there's like a probe core, but there's plenty of space for a probe core in there. And yeah, it's definitely one of the least offensive of the parts in the mod. It's like, man, there's some modders like Nertia who just like, you know, they snap their fingers and something amazing happens. Like Nertia and Games Links are like so incredibly talented. I wish for just a second that I could have the amount of technical expertise that they have, and just the ability to model things. I think it'd be cool to know how to model things, like Blender or something. I dabbled. I have a couple 3D printers, so you know I've dabbled with modeling. I've never like figured out how to do much in Blender beyond just make a couple shapes. Like I spent an hour one morning watching a man rig and model a like spider robot, and it was mesmerizing, but I could not for the life of me tell you anything he was doing. Stuff happening on screen. I wanted to do, you know, some robotic missions. So I built this thing, which is an Elu lander, or would be Elu lander. I actually did not give it enough fuel to get to Elu. Which I think is, you know, it's definitely my fault, because I put it in a much higher orbit of Kerbin than I should have, which meant that, you know, with the Oberth effect, I think it's the Oberth effect. With some effect, it means that, you know, my burns are less efficient at higher altitudes above Kerbin. I'm just so good at talking right now. Jesus. Yeah. So I just couldn't. Yeah. I put my orbit like right below Minmus, and it didn't work. It was like, I think I had 3,000 meters. Needed like 4 or 5 to get to Elu. Yeah, here we are building the Queen Station. Very aptly named because it's big, and the other one was bug named, so I figured, I don't know, man. But yeah, this one is much larger. You see all those like those like pack things. I don't know what to call them. The big tank things on the middle. So those are the much nicer, like container things to hold ore and rocket parts and all that. Because I cannot express how bad the fucking extraplanetary launchpads parts look. Yeah. I don't want to go off too much about them because I feel like that would get real tiring real fast if you're watching the video. Yeah, there I am. I put the Vulcan nuclear smelter, and I think I also have the whirly jig down over on the side. Something I thought was kind of annoying about I think it's the far future that adds the Vulcan. It does not come with the whirly jig pre-installed as well, so it like requires a bunch of uranium to make a lot of the stuff you need to make, but there's no way to make uranium or extract uranium, I should say. That was kind of annoying. It took me, admittedly, very embarrassing amount of time to figure out there just was not a whirly jig among the mods that I had installed. Sorry, I just burped or hiccuped. I don't fucking know. So I just spent, maybe 20 minutes looking through the fucking menu. Oh yeah, so one of the I was confused why I was cheating. One of the Kerbals just like got stuck in the air and would not use RCS and like was walking while like 10 meters above the ground, and it was terrible, and I was not gonna walk them, so I just like cheated them to being exactly where they were. I think that's what happened. I recorded this like weeks ago. It's not to date this or anything, but it is currently March 12th, and most of this footage was from February 23rd and 24th. So it's been a little while. I've been working mostly on my backlog. I've got a few videos already filmed and ready for releasing as soon as it's their time. Been doing it weekly every Wednesday at 4 p.m. if anyone gives a shit, which probably no one does, but wouldn't hurt to say it, on the slim off chance that someone watches these videos. So yet again, I wanted to do sort of a test mission to proof my Mooner base. This one is a dual mission. I didn't spec out any of the Delta V for the little probe landers, but I figured do the like approach of moms in the 1400s where they just had 12 kids and hoped one or two of them would live beyond the age of 10. Dark humor, except it's not funny. It's just sad. But yeah, I learned my lesson this time, and I went for a much lower orbit around Kerbin. This is surprising for how large it is. I did end up being a tiny bit lacking Delta V, which you'll see in future episodes, because I'm trying to do a thing that the other YouTubers that do, or the other YouTubers that have and do KSP, at least series and stuff. They'll start a mission and then they'll do other stuff and pick back up with it later, which I feel like is a more reasonable way of doing things than just spending 10 years and getting 3 missions done, which is kind of what I've been doing. And Jesus, sorry about my dog if you can hear her. I don't know how much my mic picks up. There are other people in the house. There's a dog that gets very upset very easily. I have a tiny chihuahua. She's, very easily upset by, most things. Doors opening, doors closing, people walking, people not walking, people standing up, people sitting down, people hugging. She really hates hugging, which is, talk about stingy. Not stingy. Dude, I don't even know the joke I'm trying to make. Oh, episode's over. Yeah. See ya.